All right, simulan natin. Alam po ninyo, pag-uusapan natin ay tungkol sa mining. We're not talking of the mining of the previous regimes na pag lahat tinuro, that is mine, that is mine. Hindi ho yun ang pag-uusapan natin. It will be a political issue, but we will talk about economics today. We'd like to find out, can the Philippines survive without mining? It's been said that President Digong believes that mining is a sunset industry. We'd like to find out if indeed it is a sunset industry. At merong mga tao kasing walang kaldero sa bahay, so saan galing yung kanilang pinaglulutuan? Imported siguro. So, ngayong umaga, pag-usapan natin ang mahalagang issue tungkol sa pagmimina. We're joined by Congressman Joey Salceda from Albay, and we will be asking him about economics of mining. At the same time, yung experience ng Albay sa Rapu-Rapu. We have with us Undersecretary Leo Hazareno of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. It's a pleasure na makasamang isa ring Bicolano. Si Engineer Luis Sarmiento, Pangulo ng PIMSEA. Narito rin po si Attorney Deo Contreras, isa pong consultant at matagal-tagal din gumugol ng panahon sa pagmimina. At si Ginoong Paul De Castro mula sa Bureau of Local Government Supervision ng Department of Interior and Local Government under Secretary Sueno. So, he'll be talking on behalf of the Secretary of DILG, which is now functioning. Congratulations. Simulan po natin ang talakayan. Opening statements. It's been said that mining is a sunset industry. Can we hear from the DENR Undersecretary Leo Hazareno? Is it indeed a sunset industry? Please.
Magandang umaga po muna, Camelo. Magandang umaga po sa mga kababayan natin. Narinig po natin yan, sinabi ni President Duterte nung nasa Mindanao Summit that the mining industry may be a sunset industry. Pero Camelo, I think sa amin sa DNR, it's more of a challenge. It is a call sa industry to prove that it is an industry that maintains its relevance to community development. Kung marinig po ninyo ang ating bagong kalihim ngayon, pag sinabi na niyang responsible mining, maririnig natin na ang focus niya community. Yung wala dapat suffering yung community, lagi niyang binabanggit, Camelo, yung common good. So merong paradigm shift yung administration na hindi natin nakita nung dati. In fact, sa isang forum, kasama sa paradigm shift ng administration na hindi dapat GDP, kundi ay GDH. Yung happiness na pinakita ng isang bansa, yung Bhutan. So, ito yung mga paradigm shift na pag pinagsama-sami natin, isang challenge sa industry.
Napakaganda nito. Congressman Salceda, you've been a bean counter all your life. If we are to talk about mining in peso and dollar terms, where do we stand? Because the President was quoted as saying, 40 billion lang naman yung binibigay nyo sa ekonomiya. We can do without it. Yes, Congressman.
Sabi ko na nga ba mabuti dinala ko talaga. Para mas malinis. Well, para may facts lang tayo. 2008, 95 billion. 2009, 106 billion. 2010, 128 billion. 2011, 143 billion. Bumaba sa 2012, simula nung lumaban yung mga provinces. Alala mo yan? Kami.
Saka yung South Cotabato?
Hindi. Mababa sa South Cotabato. Asia, ano. Pero, in perspective yun. Tapos, 2012, naging from 140, naging 121 sa 2012, 2013, 115, 2014, 130, 2015, 108. So basically, naglalaro siya sa 108. Pero dahil sa presyo, yung gross value added niya, actually umaangat from 51 billion, but this is constant GBA, 51 billion, 2009, 59, 2010, 66, 2011, 71, 2012, 72, 2013, 72, 2014, yung pumalo yung metal prices naging 82, tapos 2015, 81. So basically, between 2008 to 2015, umangat siya from 50 billion to 81 billion. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In 7 years, nag-double siya. Ay, umangat siya ng 30, ng 60, 65, 60, 61%.
Is it significant to the Philippine economy?
Hindi, 1% lang siya. 1.21% yung maximum niya as percentage of GDP.
So,
Both in constant and as well as constant and current GDP.
so tama rin si Presidente Duterte na 40 bilyones lang kayo, we can do without it? Can we really do without it?
Yung may component kasi dito na quarrying, so paano ka magko-construction? Pero kung tinatawag mo metallic mining, sabi ko nga 1.21% of GDP lang siya. Ngayon right now, 0.98 of GDP lang siya. So, in the sense na from highly very meta analysis, sabi ko na sabi, paano ka magluluto kung walang kaldero? So parang tinanong mo na rin ako, pwede ka bang magluto na nasa koron lang?
Sa atin, pwede yun.
Sa atin pwede
Oo,
yun.
pero hindi pwede sa Metro Manila yun.
Pero in general, I think, ako kasi nagkaroon ng paradigm shift pero yung batas parehas pa rin. So, the long and short of it, I am not, hindi ako, kasi nagbibreed lang siya ng dysfunctional aspects sa governance eh. You read corruption, I think that's yung perception, not only the perception but
Yeah. Marami kasing nagsasabi na kokonti lang ang nakikinabang dito. Do you have any idea as to how many people are dependent on the mining industry? Yeah. Yes, please.
As of 2015, ang employment ng mining industry is about 260,000.
260,000. All right. Direct employment. Okay. Yung downstream kaya? Do you have any idea? Wala. Okay. Deo, Attorney Contreras, do you have any idea as to how many are dependent on the mining industry, pati yung downstream?
Good morning, Congressman Leo, no? Yusek, Mr. Louie, and our guest. Gusto ko lang sagutin muna yung general question mo na mining is a sunset industry, no?
Yes.
Alam nyo, minsan naglalakad ako sa National Bookstore. Meron mo silang pinapagbili sa estudyante, Economic Map of the Philippines.
Okay.
Ito, makukuha nyo sa national. Kung titingnan nyo lahat ng region, and this is now available, region 1 to 13, puro may mining, may minerals.
Okay.
So, kung tatanungin nyo ako, meron bang effect sa economy natin ng mining? Meron. Kasi yun ang Economic Map of the Philippines. Pangalawa ho, siguro i-distinguish natin between, kasi minerals are two kinds. Ang minerals, tatlo actually. Meron nun non-metallic, may metallic, at merong energy. Ako, I hope you don't mind, ako nagtrabaho ako sa hard mineral, sa base mineral, copper, gold, silver, yan ho ang natrabaho, chromite, because I was employed with Benguet, down the line. Okay. Pero hindi ho ako nagtrabaho sa energy, which is a different law, different department. Because energy, which is coal, natural gas, oil, yan ho nasa DOE. Nasa kanilang jurisdiction. So, if you will ask me, is mining a sunset industry? I doubt it very much. Because yan ho component ng pagmimina eh. Mineral, metallic, non-metallic. And non-metallic, as sabi ni Congressman, would include sand and gravel.
Aha.
Marble. Kailangan ho natin sa construction yan eh.
At mukhang mas may demand ngayon sa marble sa dami ng napapatay, ano? Panglapida yun.
Hindi ko alam yun.
But that's another story. So you are of the opinion that
not.
it is not.
It will never be because if you note, if I may add something in the future, note our travel in the space ng ating mga astronaut. Ang hinahanap ho ng travel outside Earth are really minerals. If you know.
Yun ang hinahanap.
Yes, Mars, the Moon, and even the comets. They wanted to ride the comets kasi they are drilling for possible mineral contents that can benefit mankind.
Okay.
So, I think it will go on. Since the dawn of time, may mining na. Even surpassed the days of Jesus Christ.
Okay, very well. Coming from PIMSEA, Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Associations, meron po ba talagang safe mining? Because that's what I've been hearing from the government. It is concerned about safety, it's concerned about environment.
Magandang umaga po sa ating lahat. Ang PMSEA po, o yung Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Association, is celebrating its 63rd year this year. We started po as a background, we started as Philippine Mine Safety Association in 1980. And then we changed it because we value the environment to PMSEA as we are today. So, from just purely recognized as an association promoting occupational safety and health, we are promoting as an industry po yung ating pong best practices sa occupational safety and health, environmental protection, and social development.
Yeah. So meron sa Pilipinas.
Meron po.
President Duterte was quoted as saying, dapat gayahin yung nagaganap sa Canada at sa Australia. Meron po ba?
Yun po ating sinasabing annual awards sa Philippine Mine Safety and Environment Association. Meron po tayo dong Presidential Mineral Industry Awards. Ito po ay isang executive order na ginawa ni Presidente Ramos, yung Executive Order 399, na nagkaroon po ng pamantayan sa paggawa po nitong awards na to. At dun po sa awards na yon, andun po yung mga panuntunan kung paano po i-measure yung pong criteria sa awards. At the same time, ito po yung mga standards na ginagawa din po sa Canada, sa Australia. So kung tatanungin niyo po ako, meron na pong mga standards that are par with the Australian and Canadian standards being practiced by most of our mining operation, large-scale mining operations.
Okay. Mr. Paul De Castro from the DILG, you come from a bureau called Local Government Supervision. How successful was your office in supervising local government units na meron mga small-scale mining at ano yung balita sa Zambales, nalipat daw yung bundok sa South China Sea. Hindi po ba napuna yun ng DILG?
Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat, Camilo, kay Congressman, Engineer. Well, ganito muna, let us draw the line between what really is supervision of the DILG among the local government units. Pag sinabi po natin supervision, it does not mean control. If the local government units are working beyond what is given to them, that is something that we have to look into. Now, if the local government unit fails to perform, we in the Bureau is trying to, to look for some ways and means for these local government units to perform.
Kayo yun lang gigising, kumbaga.
Partly, yes, opo.
Okay. Nagising ho ba naman?
Nagigising naman po.
Nagigising. Ang isang problema po kasi, binabanggit dito ng Pangulo, binanggit ng Pangulo, na kailangang sumunod sa batas yung mga nasa minahan. I guess we don't have any problem with the big mining companies. What about Diwalwal, for example?
Ganito po yan. We have a national policy concerning small-scale mining, hindi po ba? But this is already also being, through a proper law, a policy, local governments are supposed to abide what this law is saying. Diyan sa Minahang Bayan, maliwanag naman po na meron na tayong guidelines para dyan. Now, the local government units are supposed really to abide by the policy kasi meron naman pong board na tinatawag sa mga regional places in the country.
Yeah, kaya ko po na itanong yon, wala tayong problema. We can have the best laws in the land. But if we have local government officials in cahoots or probably funding or they own the small-scale mining in the areas, we're going nowhere.
Yeah, opo. Sigurado po na yan isa rin sa titingnan ng DILG. Of course, proper investigation is needed on this. Kita po naman natin ngayon na pag nakakaroon ng counting, sabihin natin na pagkakamali ang mga local government, especially the local officials, hindi naman po nagpapatumpik-tumpik ang ating national leadership na magkaroon ng investigasyon.
Okay. Yung po leadership sa national, wala tayong problema. Ang problema yung sa local, kung dealership ang nangyayari, no? Yun isa problema. I don't know, Deo, you've written a book, meron ba, or 2 books, no, to that effect. Nangyayari ba yun, yung sinasabi ni Mr. Paul? Yung Yes, please. Yeah, pakisuyo lang po ng mikropono for the record.
With the indulgence of our official from the DILG. Ako po almost more than 40 years na ako sa pagmimina. I belong to the private sector. I work in Zambales. With Benguet, I work in the different mines. With Philex and then with Apex lately until I retired in Compostela, in Mako, in Compostela Valley. Alam niyo po, it's really sad to say but no pointing fingers. Sa lahat po ng minang na pagtrabahuhan ko, started with Benguet in the 70s, kaagapay ho ng pagmiminang legitimate. Nakadikit ho pirmang illegitimate small-scale mining. Sa Baguio ho, eto, hindi nyo alam ng karamihan ito. Pero pag masdan nyo, pag pumanik kayo sa Cannon Road, miski na through the Marcos Highway, may mga maliliit na parang kubol-kubol o concrete houses na maliliit along the zigzag road.
Okay.
Mga butas ho yun ng small-scale miner. Ilang beses na ho namin kinocomplain yan sa MGB in Baguio, DNR sa Baguio. Wala hong magawa.
Dahil?
Paano ho? Minsan. Minsan na opisyalis indigenous people ho yung nagbubutas ng bundok, indigenous people din yung opisyal, wala ho kami magawa. Yung amin hong, for example, when I was with Philex, yung daan ho namin na sinemento namin after the great earthquake in 1990, from Kias, near PMA, sinemento ng Philex ho yan, we spent almost 300 million up to Padcal in the mountains. Sementado yan. The communities, until now, they use our cemented road. In one portion ho, pirming bumabaksak, especially nowadays, rainy season, July and August. Bakit? Binubutas ho ng small-scale illegals sa ilalim yung road. Bumabaksak ho pirmi. Sino ho nagre-rescue? Kami. Kami ho ang nagre-repair. So yan ho yung sad situation ng illegal small-scale mining sa atin. Itong recent experience ko, ako ay papunta-punta din sa Davao, pero hindi ho ako naghahanap ng trabaho.
May trabaho ka kasi?
Meron akong trabaho. Alam niyo ho, doon sa aming area, sa King Mines, ako ho ay lawyer nung isang may-ari ng King Mines. Sa northern portion, sa Panganason, ito ho, taban ho ni Congressman. Pakikita ko sa inyo ang ginawa nila lately na hindi naman ho kaaya-aya. I don't know what's the local government doing, the local there. Ito ho, inasa gitnang picture. Nakita ho yung bundok na na-chop.
Okay.
Yan ho, gumuho dahil pinagbubutas ng illegal small-scale miner. Gumuho hindi dahil sa ulan, dahil sa dami ng butas. Ang findings ho ng DNR. Noong 2012, it's worse right now kasi ho, hindi namin ho mapigilan sila. Nasa loob sila ng aming MPSA area. Bakit hindi ho mapigilan? Yan ho ang isang problema siguro ho ng governance. Tingnan nyo ho yung dalawang picture. Yung isa sa taas sa Nickel Asia, minina ho nila open pit, pero ni-reforest. From a mining pit to a reforested area. This is in Palawan. No, this is in Palawan, Rio Tuba. The other one, the bottom, is Apex Mining in Mako, Compostela. Tingnan nyo ho yung aming building right inside the forest and we never cut the trees. Yan ho yung problema natin. Kung meron mina ho kami, nakaagapay ho ang ating mga small scale. In the middle of our Apex mines, alam nyo ho, makatao lang talaga, meron ng mga illegal small-scale mining sa loob. Pero we have to be human about this. Hinahayaan na lang ho namin. Yan ho nagiging problema. In Compostela here, it eroded entire mountainside. Hanggang ngayon, no, it's worse. Ito ho, binisita na ho ito, no, by the way. Sinasirang Secretary Robredo, binisita ito noong 2012. Si dating DND Secretary Voltaire Gasmin at si Secretary Pine ng DNR. They went here. That was during the Holy Week of 2012 when this was eroded. Alam niyo ho, kami pa ho naggastos ng pamasahe pati ng eroplano para ho magpunta. Ang sinabi ho nila, magkakaroon ng resulta, heads will roll. And nothing rolled. Hanggang
Okay.
ngayon.
Well said. Well, Mr. Undersecretary, with your indulgence po, Mr. Undersecretary, you were once head of the Mines and Geosciences Bureau. How did you deal with small-scale miners?
So nung 2011 ho ay nag-review ang Aquino administration at nakita po nila na ang the route to be addressed ay policy. Dahil ang nangyayari po sa small scale mining, dalawang batas ang sinusunod. Yung isang batas na PD 1899 na ang governor can issue a small scale mining permit by himself. At saka yun pong Republic Act 1776 na minahang bayan. So, lumabas ang policy ng Aquino administration, nasa loob ng EO 79, na sinasabing, isa na lang hong batas, yun na lang hong RA 7076. At inalis po yung poder ng local government sa pag-issue ng small scale mining contract. So, from 2014, nang lumabas ho yung revised guideline, hanggang ngayon ho, wala pa tayong na-issue'ng bagong small scale mining contract at ang tinatanggap lang muna po natin ay minahang bayan. So nawala ho yung authority na yon sa local government, napunta ho sa Provincial Mining Regulatory Board, a collegial body. So policy ho ang tinutukan ng administration. At the same time ho, nagkaroon ho tayo ng convergence ng Department of Justice at Department of DILG. Ito yung Committee on Illegal Mining. At ito po yung nag-umpisa ng pagpatigil ng Black Sand sa Cagayan, sa Ilocos Sur. Pababa na ho sana ang committee ng Camarines Norte at saka Surigao at Compostela Valley, kaya lang ho ay inabutan na ho ng eleksyon.
Okay. So, meron hong pagkakataon na yung committee naging kumita. Yung committee naging kumita dahilan sa baka doon nagka-aregluhan.
Yung fact-finding committee,
Hindi po, yung sabi niya, dahil may committee na composed of DILG, DOJ, and DNR.
Meron ho.
Baka po naging kumita yung ilan.
Hindi ho. Ayon ho sa record natin, kung maalala ho ninyo, may mga nagsasabing hindi kayang patigilin yung Black Sand sa Cagayan.
Opo.
Napatigil ho ng committee yon. Ang committee po na yon ay personally chaired ng secretary ng DOJ at the time. Nung sabi po nila na hindi kayang patigilin ng Black Sand sa Ilocos Sur dahil sa mga politiko, napatigil ho yun ng committee. At bumabaho ang committee sa Paracale. To date ho, 187 ang nakasuhan ng NBI. Ano ho yun? Pinakamalaking numero ho yun na complaint na na-file ng NBI sa history ho ng campaign sa illegal mining.
Okay. We will do the follow-up with NBI, whatever happened to it, because I remember during my time, bagong-bago ako sa Radio Veritas, there were 11 Indians na nahuli ng NBI, pero the Indians vanished into thin air. I don't know what happened to them. Baka kinuha na sa langit, pero nawala yung Indians. Would you care to react?
Just to enhance yung explanation ni Undersecretary Hazareno. Alam niyo, yung batas talaga natin sa small-scale mining, dalawa. PD 1899, this was passed during the time of President Marcos, during the martial law era. Kasi he passed that dahil during his time, yun mga illegal small-scale mining hindi na makontrol. So he tried to control it by issuing PD 1899. At itong lisensya, individual miners or individual entity, but the Bureau has jurisdiction over them. Hindi sila pwedeng magmina kung walang Bureau supervision. At ito ang qualification noong 1899. Sa isang entity, isang tao, number one, highly artisanal. Ibig sabihin, labor intensive. Tapos wala hong gamit ng sophisticated equipment. Ibig sabihin nung walang gamit sophisticated equipment, ang amount of labor must be more than the value of the equipment being used. Yun ang ibig sabihin nun. Hindi porket small scale, hindi ka na pwede gumamit ng truck, second hand ng mga backhoe. Pwede ho, provided that the labor is more than ang ratio yan than 1:1. Dapat mas malaki ang labor. So, yan ho yung batas na yun. Pero under the supervision of the DNR Bureau, because yung ating mga kababayan na nag-engage sa illegal small-scale miner, wala hong kaalaman sa pagmimina. Akala ho nila, it's plain livelihood. Alam niyo ho, magmina, maghukay ka ng lupa, especially sa bundok, napakadelikado. And the resultant is degradation. Okay. Kaya ho, yung RA 7076 na ipinasa ng Congress noong 1993, 92 or 91, right after the passage of the Local Government Code in 91, tinakda doon na dapat ang mga minero, na grupo ng minero, ay maggugrupo-grupo sa isang cooperative, pa-accredit. And then, i-report ho yan sa Provincial Mining Regulatory Board para tanggalin yung area na yon sa public area at sila ho ang magmimina. Kaya lang may isang catch ho dyan, which is the most unattractive feature of RA 7076. Kailangan ho sila magbabayad ng buwis. Kailangan ho sila magre-report sa bureau. Tingnan nyo ho nangyari, yung nakita ni Yusek Azareno lately, wala na ho nagbebenta ng gitno sa small scale mining sa Central Bank. Kasi nagtatago na. They are smuggling out our gold. And the production right now, even of small scale mining people, equals or even is more than the legitimate gold mining company which we have. And the gold mining company which we have now is very limited. What are the gold mining companies that we have which are legitimate? Number one, Philex.
Okay.
Pero konti lang din ho minsan nakukuha ang gold doon. Number two ho, siguro yung unregistered. There is one in Mindanao, I forgot their name, but they're doing it quietly. Doon sa Coo, Yusek, Pilasaga. Those guys are doing it quietly their job. Another one which is pure gold is Apex, where I came from.
Okay.
Ay Apex ho, underground, kaya walang sinisirang gubat, underground, kaya lang ho ang production is small because the deposit is vein type. Hahanapin mo ho yung gold. So they're processing it and spending for that. So basically, yan lang ho yung mga gold mining companies natin na umaandar. Kaya ho, mas marami yung illegal dahil ang dami nila sa Compostela, Diwalwal, Bicol, and then Northern Luzon. Pagsama-samahin nyo ho yan, kaya marami hong binebenta sa Central Bank nung araw dahil hindi ho kinokontrol ng 7076. Pero nung ibinapa ho yung 7076, nagtago na hong lahat.
Nagtago lahat.
Oh yes.
Okay. In the first place, sa DILG po ba? Dahil mahalaga yung papel ng local government units dito. May inventaryo ba kayo ng mga nasa small scale? Dahilan sa... There was this incident in Camarines Norte. Pinasok ng tubig dagat yung tunnel. Tapos may mga nalunod pero hindi nalaman kung ilan yung namatay. So, don't you think this is the job of the local government units to check on the number of people involved in this business?
Yeah, I think the MGB has data on this. Kasi yan ang jurisdiction nila. So, kung kailangan man namin ng data, we coordinate with the MGB.
Yeah. Okay.
May I comment on your observation about that mine? Kasi ho, yan yung La Suerte Mines ng Lepanto, Paracali Mines na nabili ng Benguet from Lepanto. Pilipino ho pareho ito. Yun ho yung sa underground yan eh. Malapit ho kami sa bay ng Paracali. Yun hong isang tunnel doon, sinaraduhon ng mina kasi ho, papunta ng dagat, malalim na. Binutas ho ng illegal, ng tao. Nalunod ho silang lahat. By figures, we estimated 300 of them lost their lives. Puro illegal. Pinasok ho.
Hindi lumabas yung balita ron eh.
Ay, kasi nga ho, ayaw ho nilang ilagay sa dyaryo dahil ho, illegal ho yung ginagawa na. Pinasok ho ng mga tao.
Yun ang isang problema ron. So, where is mine safety there, Engineer Louie?
Yan pong ito po si
Undersecretary
Yusek Azareno makaka-relate po kasi po siya mismo led yung nag-landslide sa Pantukan in 2012. Actually, dalawang beses po nangyari yon. And this is because of the small-scale mining activity dun sa lugar. Ang masakit po nito, every time magkakaroon ng landslide incident related to small mining activities o kung ano man pong aksidente sa small-scale mines. For example po, gumagamit ng explosives. Cyanide, illegally. Nasabugan po yung tao, dadalhin sa para i-report. Tatanong nung iba-blatter, ano po ang cause of accident? Sabog po ang muka. Malaria po, na malaria. So, napakasakit po nung gano'n na, kasi po gusto nilang itago dahil ang
Sa
reaction
buga
natin,
mukha, malaria.
sususpendin natin yung small scale operations. Kaya po kami as PMCEA, although ang membership po namin nasa large scale mining operations, gusto po sana namin hindi lang ibahagi yung aming expertise sa search and rescue. Kasi po reactive yun eh. Tuwing pong may sakuna, nagre-respond po yung mga mina natin. Doon sa mga small-scale mining activity nagkakaroon ng aksidente. Pero ang dapat po sana na maging proactive approach natin, which is in a limited scale na gagawa natin, tulungan po natin yung mga small-scale miners to make their operation safely and efficiently.
Okay.
But nalilimit po tayo ng batas.
Saka isa pa pag sinabing minahan, generic na yun
Generic, opo.
Okay, illegal yan, kay legal, yun na yun.
Yun po.
Kaya nagagalit si Presidente Digong. Opo, tama ito. Pero yung karanasan ng Albay, how was it, There was this experience with Lafayette. Tell us, whatever happened to it?
Binili ng Koreano.
Binili ng Koreano.
So, mas mabuti-buti naman yung relasyon ng, mas nakikipag-usap in terms ng mas may effort sila na talagang mag-comply dun sa mga requirements ng kanilang, how would you call that? MPS ba yun? MPSA nila. Ang naging problema yung dulo, yung rehab, biglang na-release yung kalahati na hindi man lang na-notify o walang prior approval ng MRFC. So, nag-usap lang yung Koreano at saka yung MGB. So, yun. Malaking katanungan. So, hindi talaga. So
ang tanong po ng congressman anyari. Parang anyari. What happened?
kasi supposed to be, yun ang kung anong inabutan mo, yun ibabalik nila. Kaya nga nagkakaroon po ng mine rehabilitation. Ibabalik mo, ipapanumbalik. Kinuha mo lang, kinutkot mo lang yung so many ounces of gold, so many tons of ibabalik mo lang sila sa Kaya basically that's the entire thing. So kung anong kahoy doon, ibabalik mo rin yung kahoy, etc. etc. So pero dahil bigla na lang in-account nyo na ba yung 150? I-account mo nga sa akin kung nasa napunta yung 150.
150.
300 million yun. Nakipag-away pa noon si Pahe.
Nakababayan din natin.
Na hindi pa pwede yung maliit na binibigay yung yung nasa escrow account. Kasi yung escrow account na yan, nasa pag-aari pa rin ng mining company. Parang itinambi lang niya lang para may pondo, para ibalik sa dati. Ngayon, para mapasiguro na ibabalik sa dati, mayroong komitiba. Yung MRFC nga, RR, Rapo-Rapo. Kaya lagi ko na doon sa RR MRFC, ang haba-haba ng pangalan. So, nagkataon, kaya na ba yun? Bigla na lang nawala yung 150. So, ewan ko, baka masagot nila yung 150 kung nasaan.
So,
Sige po.
After 7 years na pagmimina ho ay natapos na rin yung mining operation ng Rapo-Rapo. At sa ilalim mo ng batas, kailangan nila mag-implement ng final mine rehab, Camelo. At ang naaprobano ng MGB na final mine rehab ay gagawin lang agroforest yung mina. Yung open pit, agroforest. So nung nag-review po ang dating kalihim, si Secretary Pahe, nakita niya na hindi sapat yung agroforest lamang. So na-review ho ang rehab plan at napagkasunduan na dagdagan ho ng mina yung rehab fund. From 250 million ay pinadagdagan po natin ng $3 million. Para ho ang kanyang final land use ay maging agroforest ecotourism. Para mas may gamit sa Rapo-Rapo.
Opo.
Ang nangyari ho, dapat ho niyan, yung pondo ho na yon ay gagamitin taon-taon para ho ma-implement yung rehab. Ayon ho sa batas, bago ho natin pawalan yung pera, kailangan mag-submit ang mina ng annual work program. I-recommend ho ng MRFC, yung Mine Rehab Fund Committee sa region. Aakyat ho ng central office. Aaproban ho dapat ng MGB ang pag-release ng pera. Ang nangyari ho, nalaman na lang natin na nag-release na pala ang MGB region ng pera na 120 million na walang plano, walang approval.
Buhay pa ho yung may hawak, no?
Yun hong RD, nung nalaman ho yun ng DNR, agad-agad ho ay pinalitan. So, at kasalukuyan ho ngayon nakasuspindi at may investigation din. So, ang ginawa ho ng DNR, dineclare ho natin na yung 120 million na withdraw ay unauthorized. And therefore, yung mina, kailangan hong palitan yung pera na yon. So, doon ho ang estado nung nagpalit hong administrasyon.
Wow. Eh kung 120 yun, that's plunder. Di po
More
ba?
than 50 million ho.
Kaya more than 50. So,
Ang question
walang
mo doon,
bill doon.
kasi ang sa rule ho, dapat ang mag-withdraw ng fund, joint to account kasi ito eh. Mina saka MGB. But yung MGB director, regional director, hindi rin siya pwede mag-withdraw kung walang approval galing sa central office. Na-withdraw niya, pinirmahan niya ang pera.
May authority from the central office? Was there?
Lahat ho ng requirements sa pag-withdraw ng fund, hindi ho sinunod. Basta ang sinunod lang ho, nag-file ng deposit slip, pinirmahan ng president ng company, pinirmahan ng MGBRD, na-release ho yung 120
Wala
million.
man lang report yung Anti-Money Laundering Council
Hindi
for
naman.
such an amount?
So, unauthorized ho lahat at nalaman din ho namin na ginastos ho pala yun sa pagbili ng mga equipment na hindi ayon doon sa work plan. So, lahat ho ay nandun ng department. At ngayon ho, pinag-submit natin ng bagong work plan yung rapo-rapo at yan ho ngayon ang ini-evaluate.
Wow. You know, amazing. Fantastic. I'm groping for words how to describe such a transaction. No? Yes, Deo. May tanong na rin yung kasama ko mamaya.
I-enhance ko lang ho yung observation. Because really, it's a question of governance. In our country, it's always a question of governance. Tingnan ho ito, no? Ito ho, hindi nalagay sa dyaryo. Nung nasa Apex po ako, before I resign, meron ho kaming 200 million allotted for the indigenous people, for the Mansaka, where we operate in Mako. Ano ho? So I requested our principal release the 200 million to the community, to the IP, to their tribal group, para ho makapag-umpisa na sila ng hanap buhay, ng business, before Apex then was about to operate. We started in 2009. So we released it in 2008. Nirelease ho namin 200 million. Sa batas ho nila, sa IPRALO, wala hong pakialam ang mina pag nag-release ng pera. Ibibigay ho namin sa NCIP na the learned group of our indigenous people to assist the tribal group in managing their money. Marami ho kami narinig. Nagtayo ho sila ng cooperative, weaving, and then they said they're going to put up a rural bank. Sabi ho namin, fine, that's good. Pero ito ho, ang the sad thing that happened is this. Medyo ho nasisi pa ako eh. Sinabi sa akin, Atty, ba't mo re-release yung pera dun sa mga IP? Sabi ko, yun ang batas nyo sa NCIP. Alam mo niya nangyari? They killed each other. The datu who was handling the funds to signatory, pinorso yung signature nung signatories, winidraw ho yung 200 million. Nagalit ho yung tribal head. Nagbarilan ho sila. So they died. So yan ho yung problema eh. Hindi ho, marami din kasalanan ng pagmimina, even that mine in Rapu-Rapu. Meron ng problema yan sa rehab spillage. Pero we are trying our best to comply because meron ho kaming proseso, meron ho kaming procedure. But look what happens if we give it to the people, and not only on the government side, even on our local people. Meron pa din I hate to say this, but there is still a culture of corruption. Yun ho ang malungkot.
Plain and simple. Raymond, kanina ka pa nagsusulat dyan. Alam mo, marami ka itatanong. Sige, simulan mo na. Bago natin buksan yung ating
nagugulat
microphone.
po ako sa laki kasi ng figures. With all those problems po kaya, ang ating pong DNR secretary, parang having sort of war with the mining companies, no? Hindi po kaya may problema ito kung yung kaso po na binanggit niyo dun sa indigenous, papunta po dun kasi yung gusto mangyari ng ating secretary, matulungan yung mga IPs.
Opo, isa lang ang basic issue, pagka nabanggit na ni Atty. Contreras, pagdating mo sa mga fund, once nagbayad sila, purely NCIP na ang mag-a-administer. Hindi pwede sila mismo na mayari ng pera, hindi nila pwede pakialaman kung paano gastusin. So, mayroon na ho ngayong programa ang kalihim po natin na makipag-coordinate sa ang NCIP ho under the Office of the President. May bago tayong chairman ng NCIP at from Mindanao. So babae. So sa Mindanao Summit, ang isa sa mga maraming issues ang ni-raise ng mga LUMADs against the NCIP, particularly yung mga royalty payments at saka yung dislocation nila because of some mining applicants. Naka-priority po ito sa programa po ng ating kalihim. Kasi nag-commit po ang ating kalihim sa Mindanao Summit na she will handle the issues of the LUMADs in Mindanao.
Sana. I can only wish her success because you may agree with a certain group of LUMADs, then there will come another group of LUMADs.
Ang gagawin po, Carmelo, ganitong estratehiya ho ng department. Pag-address ho sa mga LUMADs, hindi ho by political boundaries. Ang gagawin po natin yung watershed approach. So meron kang isang watershed, kung sino yung stakeholders nandyan sa watershed, i-address yung problema nila following a plan na sila nagsumite.
Okay, so I can only hope it will work. Raymond?
Wala. Anyway, yung nabanggit kasi po ni President Digong, no, yung sa summit nga na sunset industry. With regards to logging, may mga binanggit din po siya eh. Ano na po ba ang ginagawa ng DENR doon?
Within 2 weeks po, ang ginawa po ng kalihim, unang-una, nakipag convergence sa 4 o 5 departamento. Nagkaroon tayo ng Memorandum of Agreement. Ano po ito? Nabalita ito. PNP, AHP, DILG, DOJ, para magkaroon ng convergent actions against violation of the environmental laws. Number 1 po yung illegal logging. Pangalawa ho yan, sa reorgo ng DENR, naglagay siya ng isang USEC na ang trabaho ay talagang quick response. Nasa pamumuno po ito ni USEC Art Valdez. So siya ang trabaho niya ngayon, lahat ng mga hotspots, illegal logging, illegal mining, siya ho agad ang unang pupunta. So may special team ho tayo na. So dalawa ho ngayon ito, isang in-house na quick response team at isang convergent na action among departments para lang ho sa mga hotspots po na ito.
Yeah. Secretary, in as much as you mentioned it, no, binanggit din po kasi ni Pangulong Duterte na he would tap the military and police to shut down airing mining firms. Puera de los Buenos, but we've also heard even military and police are into small-scale mining. In fact, they own yung mga ilang butas dun. Paano po yun?
Isa po yan sa tanong noong press con kay General De La Rosa. At ang sabi niya ho ay siya ho nakakaalam kung sino ang dapat na maging miyembro ng task force po na ito.
Okay. We'll open the floor to our colleagues from the media. We have a microphone here. The cardinal rules are as follows. Please identify yourself and the entity you come from and go ahead with the question. You may be allowed to have a follow-up, but please no privileged speeches. Okay? We have questions from the floor. The microphone is here. Please come over. Okay? Wala pa? Sige, tuloy tayo. Inasmuch as nabanggit ni Pangulong Duterte yung Mark Copper, nagkaroon na ba ng closure yung Mark Copper? It's a black spot really as far as mining is concerned.
Mining rehab is
Ang pinaka-issue sa Mark Copper, more than 15 years from this incident, kasi
Opo.
1996 po ito.
1996 po.
Ay Una ho, kung sino ang dapat ipakulong, kung sino ho ang nagkasala. Pangalawa ho ay yun pa rin hong papaano lilinisin yung spill doon sa Buwak River. At pangatlo ho ay papaano ho makukompensate o matutulungan yung mga naapektuhan. Bago ho umalis yung dating kalihim ho ng departamento, may nabuo na ho na isang legal team para ho once and for all may file na ho yung case against the perpetrators.
Hindi ho kaya nag-prescribe na yun?
Hindi naman po, hindi.
Hindi, okay. I remember, noong namimili ng properties ang Mark Copper sa Marinduque, I was still in Lucena City at that time, tuwan-tuwa yung mga tao dahil yung lahat ng tanim nila binabayaran. Yung isang saging, 25 pesos noong 1975. At ginawa lang golf course. Kaya lang, sabi nyo, hindi pa na-identify kung sinong dapat managot, kung sinong kakasuhan. Ano po nangyari? Mas mabagal pa kay Kuya Cesar at Chadeli yung proseso.
Nasa California courts.
Paano po yun?
Naging komplikado po yung sitwasyon dahil una, yun lugar ay naging private property. Binili ho ng Mark Copper yung buong mining area niya.
Opo.
At tuwing ang aming Region 4 ay magbibisita at i-investigate, laging pahirapan bago makapasok sa private property. Pangalawa ho, sa mga times na umaksyon ang MGB, kinasuhan din ho yung mga director natin. Pangatlo ho, yung kaso ho na na-file ng 1996, 1997, hanggang ngayon ho, hindi ho gumalaw sa RTC. Hindi ho gumalaw sa RTC. In fact, natalo pa tayo sa RTC.
Talaga?
Natalo pa. So yun hong kaso na yun na na-file noon, after legal research, nakita po natin na hindi ho nag-prescribe. So yung kaso ho na file natin ngayon, yan pa rin ho yung dapat na kaso na na-file noong 1996. Ano po muna ito, sir? Sa criminal liability. Criminal liability ito. Yun munang uunahin, yung criminal. So nandun pa rin ho yung compensation for damages sa mga kababayan natin sa Mindoro, sa Marinduque. Yung handling ho ng tailings or whatever are left kung paano pa ho gagawin.
Okay. Deo, I will have to ask you because you're a lawyer here, no? In the panel. Kung ang gawing depensa force majeure, umulan, kaya bumaha, kaya lumabas yung tailings.
Siguro ho, ma-explain ko kasi the Mark Copper incident happened ho when I was with the Chamber of Mines. Our chairman was Manny Zamora and Jerry Brimo. I was EBP. Ako ho yung whipping boy. Ako yung utusan. Kapapasa pa lang ho nung Philippine Mining Act of 1995 noon March. And then right after that, biglang nag-spillage sa Mark Copper sa Marinduque.
Wala pang IRR.
Wala pa ho. Ginagawa pa namin yung IRR namin sa mining. So, we try to see what will be the result of investigation by the government, DNR, etc. Lumabas ho. Ang reason why there was a spillage of mine tailings in the Buwak River in Marinduque caused by the mine tailings of Mark Copper Mines, ganito ho Yun yung tailings pan doon namin tinatapon yung tailings, yun ho yung sand na nagiging residue pag nakuha mo na yung copper, Tinatapon ho yan, yung tailings, doon ho sa isang containment area. Nilagay ho nila ng Marinduque Mines yung tailings doon sa isang used open pit. Yung open pit ho malalim. Kaya pwede mong gawin containing pan o dam, doon may tatapan yung tailings. Kaya lang ho, ang karakteristik ho ng isang used open pit mine, meron hong drain sa ilalim yan, may tubo. Kumbaga sa sink, if you can imagine, yung sink ho nyo may tubo. Meron din tubo yan para ho hindi mabasa, hindi mag-wet yung pag-recover mo nung ground. At
Underpass.
Opo, may underpass ho. May tubo yan, papuntang River Buwak. So, dyan ho, sa dulo, meron yung mga screens. Ang naging problema po, yung plug na inilagay ng Mark Copper doon sa drain plug, pumutok. So, pagputok ho, dire-diretso, nag-drain ho yung tailings sa Buwak River. Yan ho yung Marinduque spillage incident. Kasi ho ginawa yan dahil pinagbawal ng gobyerno na yung ating mga tailings magiging to be thrown out into the sea. Kasi magkakaroon din ng effect sa corals eh. So ang ginawa, inland. So they were allowed. But whether there is negligent, whether there is accident, as you said, force majeure, hindi ko ho masasabi kasi basta't pumutok yung plug dun sa pipe. Yan ho ang Marinduque spillage incident.
At yun ang hindi naalis sa gunita ng tao.
Oo, kasi yung affected the fisher folks and the villages downstream where the mine tailings were being spilled out. Talagang masama ang epekto sa mga taong nakatira dun sa area. And that should be the responsibility of the mining company.
Pero nagpalipat-lipat na ng pag-aari yung kumpanya, di po ba?
Yun ho, hindi ko masagot dahil kung may liability, kaya nga ho, merong batas sa pagmimina eh. May batas ho sa pagmimina, kung siya yung liable, dapat ho habulin. Again, as I will again have said, dahil ho sa defects in our governance.
Okay. Yes, would you care to add to the discussion, Engineer Louie? Mine safety ito eh. How safe are the mines today? Although may sinasabi, may mga ISO na yan, pero in the first place, ligtas na ba talaga yan?
I can speak for the large-scale mining operations, Camelo, because they are governed by a very strict standards in terms of mining operations. For example, yung sa tailings dam, because of technology, because of the advancement in engineering sciences, marami ito pong nagawang improvement in terms of to ensure yung integrity ng ating mga tailings dam. So may mga safety measures po, may mga mitigation measures to ensure na hindi po magkaroon ng mga aksidente as we learned during the Mark-Copper.
After the Mark-Copper to, no? We learn from the mistakes.
Opo. So ito po yung sinasabi na yung pong 1995 Mining Act, ina-apply na po ng ating mga existing mines.
Okay, maganda ito. We have questions from our friends from the media. Tayo lang po kayo at bibigyan namin kayo ng pagkakataon. Yes, please. Dito po. Andito po yung mikropono for the record.
Sir, good morning. I am James Galvez, Manila Times.
James of Manila Times. Yes.
Sir, tanong ko lang po, anyone from the panel can answer. Why is mayroong focus sa large-scale mining compared dun sa small-scale mining na which is more polluting?
Bakit nakatuon ng pansin
Yes, sir.
sa mga malalaking minahan samantalang mas
polluting ang small scale. Considering nga sabi ni Mr. Sarmiento na govern ng strict standard ang large scale. Na anytime na meron silang violation, stop ka agad. Unlike yung small scale, pag meron gumuhong lupa, tuloy pa rin ang operations.
Para ano rin yan eh. Bakit pinanggagalitihan nyo yung provincial buses? Bakit na 1,500 per day lang? Tapos yung 2.5 million na private cars, hindi nyo pinag-uusapan.
may kinalaman sa Pokemon
big
Go yan.
versus small is easier to... Kaya mas pinag-uusapan talaga yung yung madaling tira.
Madaling? Madaling?
In other words, kumbaga sa PR, communications, sa corporate kami, yan, tinuro sa akin sa AIM, may mga big bad, may mga natural na big bad objects talaga. Like oil companies, big mining companies.
Yes, there.
I wish to spare Yusek Leo in explaining. We have grown all together kasi. And ganito yun eh. If I may answer your question indirectly. Alam niyo po, short kwento, doon sa amin tinitira na subdivision dito sa may Batasan. Kung natatanda, kung inyo alam niyo ho ba yung yung San Mateo Batasan Road?
Yes, sir.
Alam niyo ho 'yan? Ginagamit niyo ngayon, di ba? So, San Mateo became accessible and Montalban and Marikina through that bridge to Quezon City through the Batasan area. Yun ang unang plano dyan, hindi ho San Mateo Batasan Road. It is San Mateo Philinvest Road. Nag-drawing na ho ang gobyerno ng isang malaking flyover. Doon ho across our subdivision, landing at the Batasan Road. So, nung nakita ho namin mga homeowners yan, nagprotesta ho kami. Kasi dinrowing na lang ng gobyerno yung malaking highway inside our subdivision. Mantakin na nyo muna yung pollution. Sabi, hindi kami mapopollute. But we will be looking at the polluted from upstairs dahil merong highway sa taas. So, nung nag-hearing, tinanong namin ang secretary dati ho ng public highway, si Secretary Ping De Jesus And then, pero may kasalanan ho nito, yung head ng URPO, yung Urban Road Planning Program, kasabato siguro yung developer kasi silang dalawa nag-drawing ng mapa Nung tinanong namin, ba't nyo naman idadaan dito ang karsada sa gitna ng aming subdivision na dito kami nabuhay, umutang kami ng pera para ipatayo ang bahay namin. Hindi nyo daan dyan sa depressed area kasi yun doon sa depressed area na where it is now located, puro depressed area yun. Mahirap nilang lumalaban Alam niyo ang sagot sa amin? Kasi mas madali kayong kausapin sa homeowners kaysa sa depressed area. That's my answer.
So, yung malalaking kumpanya, mas madaling kausapin. Ganun nga po ba yun? Yeah. So, biglang lipat sa DNR.
Officially ho, pag tininan po natin yung programa ng DNR, kahit yung nakalipas na administration, laging nasa taas din yung campaign to stop illegal mining. Kaya nga ho, makita ninyo, ang malalim yung pagkaka-evaluate, talagang policy ang una nakita. Dahil nga doon sa authority by the local governments. Kaya lang ho, ang atin pong ballpark figure ay 200 to 300,000 na illegal miners. Nung nag-campaign ang task force sa Camarines Norte, sa Paracale, ang sagot po sa atin ng local government ay, sige, ipakulong ninyo ang 20,000. Pero bigyan nyo kami ng pakain doon sa mga 20,000. So, laging ang binabato sa atin ay social issue. 20,000 people na i-relocate mo from illegal gold mining, bibigyan mo ng livelihood. So, parang lumalabas, pag pinatigil natin ng illegal miners, tayo rin dapat ang may responsibility pakainin. So yun lagi ang binabato sa atin. Kaya nga yung EU79, kung makita ninyo yung task force sa illegal mining, kasama yung TESDA sa DSWD. Dahil talagang kasama pati yung pag-take care sa kanila after mining. Ganon din sa suspension natin ngayon na ginagawa. Sinasabi ng ating kalihim, ang trabaho natin ay hindi tumatapos sa pag-suspend sa mina, kundi tignan nila yung mga na-dislocate ng mga empleyado ay ma-address yung kanilang displacement o dislocation.
Second question.
Yes, please.
Mr. Sarmiento, are you willing to stake the organization's name since you've been giving these awards para sa mine safety standards? Now, none of those awarded with these prestigious awards will be suspended by the MGB.
James, maganda yung tanong mo, no? Ang PMCEA is the venue for the awarding ng Presidential Mineral Industry Awards. Ito pong award na to, ang chairman po nito is no less than the Secretary of the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, co-chaired by the President of the Chamber of Mines. And then ang secretariat po nito, yung Technical Working Group, is Mines and Geosciences Bureau. And then kung titingnan po natin yung composition ng Committee on the Presidential Mineral Industry Awards, represented po ang Department of Health, Department of Interior and Local Government, Department of Science and Technology, the non-government organization like the Philippine Mining and Exploration Association, yung pong PMCEA is just one of the committee members. Pero po kami, we go through the validation on the site and we deliberate it during the national summit to select yung pong mga awardees. And no less than when Director Leo was Undersecretary Leo Hazareno was
Director of MGB.
Was the director of MGB. Talaga pong sinasala naming mabuti ito kasi this is a presidential award. This is not a PMCEA Presidential Award. This is the President of the Republic of the Philippines that is doing the awarding himself. So, very prestigious po ito. So we would not want this to be tainted by any irregularities or an anomaly or questions.
Yeah.
Confident po kayo na none of the awardees will be suspended?
I-qualify po natin yung suspension because like in any audits, ito nga po when you do an audit, it is a standard practice that you will qualify kung ano man po yung mga findings sa audit. So, meron pong level yan. One is it a minor non-conformance? Is it a major non-conformance? Hindi naman po pwedeng minor, halimbawa may isang worker, walang suot na personal protective equipment. Is it a major non-compliance? Does it mean suspendihin na natin yung kumpanya?
Okay. So it will
Unless
depend. It will depend on the findings.
It will depend on the findings. Opo. And the audit, meron pong audit period. No? Ito po is based on the criteria. And during the audit findings, meron pong prescribed period kung anong po yung audit na yan. If there's an accident, if it's a major non-conformance, yes, there will be a corresponding penalty and suspension. You want to add to that, Yusek?
Yes, Mr. Undersecretary. Dagdagan na rin natin dahil lang sa sabi, merong 48 mining firms under audit by DNR MGB.
Ang audit po na ginagawa ngayon ng bagong administration ay para sa 4 na po na operating metal mines at 65 operating non-metallic mines. Matatapos po ang audit sa metal mines ngayong August sa 4 na po at yun yung mga nakaraan na suspension na ginawa ng DNR, you will have to judge it. Tulad ho nung 4 na nickel mines sa Zambales, ang violation nila ay nagkaroon ho ng siltation yung mga ilog. At may na-damage ho na farmland, may na-damage ho na fish ponds, kaya kinakailangang masuspinde. At kulang din kaluwi yung reforestation. Parang lumalabas, napadami yung nabalatan. Naparami yung nabalatan in preparation for mining pero hindi na umpisahan yung mining kaya nakatiwangwang siya. Hindi naman pwedeng taniman dahil miminahin nga. So in the process, matagal siya nakatiwangwang, nagkakaroon ng siltation. So ito yung mga major na violation na naging dahilan para sa ngayon mayroon tayong 10 na suspend kami.
Yeah. There's this sick joke I heard years ago, long before you became MGB director and now USEC. No? We took a helicopter from Legazpi to Daet and I told the general who was with me at the chopper, sabi ko, wala na yatang gubat dito sa Bicol National Park. Ang sagot sa akin, kita mo naman, wala nang NPA dyan. So, ano nangyari? Talungan na ito. Dati, unggoy yung makikita mong tumatawid doon sa National Highway. Ngayon, tao na ang tumatawid dahil lang sa may mga settlers na. So, maaring nakapasa ka nung araw, pero kung nagpabaya ka, baka hindi ka pumasa sa audit ngayon. I guess that is how we should say it. No? More questions from the floor, please? All right. Meron pa po bang tanong o aambusin nyo na lang yung ating mga bisita mamaya? Okay. All right. Okay. Let's look forward. Kayo po sa DILG, ano po nakikita pa ninyong papel upang higit na makita ang performance or non-performance of local government units? Because, there's this PD 1602 na pag may illegal gambling na nakuha sa isang barangay, the barangay captain will be held equally liable. Pero nothing has happened. Kaya pati droga ngayon.
Yeah.
Paano
Ganito
po yun?
po, tatlong presidente po ang dumaan sa amin noon at meron po kaming tinatawag na Local Governance Performance Management System. Na ito po, tinitingnan po natin, how do local governments perform along the 5 areas, governance, environment, economic, social services, and governance. Ngayon, pinapalawig po namin yan ngayon. Ito pong nagdaang administrasyon, nagkaroon din po kami ng Seal of Local Governance Good Governance Award na kung saan yun po ang nagiging basihan na aming performance. Ano po ang pagbabago rito? Before, we have this kind of a listing telling us whether a local government unit, I am not talking about the local chief executive, but the entire local government unit, are they doing it excellently, good, and then very poor? Ganun lamang po ang listahan noon. But now we are using this as a basis for providing service or providing, should we say, dole out or assistance to local government units. If you could not at least be on a very satisfactory level, the national government would not provide you with any assistance na kinakailangan ng local government unit.
Hindi po kaya mas maganda kung wag na nyo ibigay yung IRA. O, di ba? Pag hindi sila nag-perform, wala kang IRA.
Iba po yan. It's a national law actually po, not within the gambit of the
wala na sa
Secretary of
inyo.
Local
Okay.
Government.
Nagpapatawa lang naman ako. Attorney Deo. What is needed to keep the mining industry alive together with the number of people dependent directly and indirectly in the industry?
Ang ano ho kasi, yung sinabi ni Presidente na sunset industry, I beg his indulgence, but I don't agree with him. Kasi ho, ang problema ho kasi sa atin, as you said earlier, na paghalo yung legitimate mining against legitimate mining. As I said, ang ating mga kumpanya ho, yung malalaki, kukunti lang. Kung bibilangin ho, yung sinasabi ni Yusek na 40, hindi ho malalaki yon. Ang malalaki ho, talagang wala pa sigurong 10. Ayan ho, we have existed Benguet for more than 100 years, Philex more than 50 years, Apex more than 30 years. Yan ho yung mga old na mining company na talagang sumusunod sa patakaran. And when it comes to safety, hindi lang ho yung safety ng environment. Narinig niyo ba ang aming mga minero, even underground, namatay sa underground? Nakabalita na ho kayo na namatay yung minero namin? Wala. Kasi ho, yung mine safety group ho namin, nakasama din siya. Pinupulis ho namin sarili namin. Totoo ho yun. Meron ho kami mine safety group. The mine safety group, alam ni Yusek Leo, yan ho ang pinakamalakas na body na committee sa isang mining company. Because the mine safety group reports directly to the resident manager. Hindi ho nagre-report yan sa legal, sa personnel. Bakit? Kasi ho, pagka nirecommend niya na hindi pwedeng gawin itong procedure, bawasan itong use of equipment, approve ng resident manager, everyone follows. Ganyan ho yung discipline namin sa procedure. Kaya ho, wala ho tayong nababalitaan kung meron man siguro minor accident na death, fatal accident sa pagmimina, especially underground, even open pit. Kasi ho kami ho is being monitored strictly by the DNR and under the law, if an accident happens, miskin ho maputulan ng kamay, we have to report within 72 hours, which we do to the MGB.
Ganun.
Ganun ho kahigpit. Nandun ho sa batas. Nandun ho sa batas yan. So, we have to report that. So, lahat ho na aksidente, naputulan ng kamay, naputulan ng paa, nire-report ho namin. Pero karamihan ho na naobserbahan ko, when I was in Compostela and Apex, minor ho yung accident, naipit, etc. Pero fatalities, wala po. Because of our strict environment and safety control. Safety internally ho namin. On external, I hope you don't mind, I have to expand, but it's explaining our industry. You know, whenever there is a big sakuna or big disaster outside in the Philippines, even outside our operations, mostly outside our operations, sino ho ang tumutulong? 1990, the big Baguio earthquake. Sino ang tumulong sa mga bumaksak na building? In Baguio City, in Nueva Ecija, in Dagupan, mining companies. Kami ho nakarecover ng Mrs. ni Secretary Rocco, si Sonia Rocco. Ang miners ho from Benguet and from Philex recovered Mrs. Rocco. Unfortunately, hindi ho namin na-recover si Mrs. Laya. Dahil ho, namatay, tinamaan ho siya ng paa ng lamesa sa ilalim sa Nevada Hotel.
Okay.
And then we rescued even the collapse terraces, yung malaki kong building terraces hotel. Miner ho namin ang pumasok doon.
Alright. So may training?
Talaga ho kami lang ho may training. Yun yung pinakita kong picture. May picture ho yan sumunod. Miners din ho ang nagre-rescue kasama ang mga sundalo. Mga sundalo.
Bakit sundalo, hindi pulis?
Gusto nga namin ho, sana kasama din namin yung mga NP.
Okay.
Kasi
Actually,
tumulong
they serve the same community.
Yeah, but
diba?
we don't see them helping out. Yun ang problema eh.
Okay. All right. Mula po sa PIMSEA, what do we expect from PIMSEA? Anong pwede niyong gawin para matuloy yung pagmimina?
Yung sa amin po, this is a challenge for the industry to continue to reinforce yung amin pong advocacy for responsible mining. Meaning, i-strengthen po natin lalo yun pong ating pamantayan in terms of occupational safety and health, environmental protection, and social development.
Okay. Congressman.
Alam mo, at the end of the day, kahit gaano kagaling ng mga mining companies, wala maramdaman yung mga taga-Albay na parang may mining pala doon. Naramdaman na lang namin yung merong mga Fiskir, may AMD, kasi may nangyaring AMD noon Kasi wala naman talagang, pag tinignan mo po yung revenue sharing, ang layo. Nakakut-kut yung ng 44 billion, natanggap lang yata ng province, 12 million. Yan, ganun yung sharing Kasi papasok pa sa 40%, papasok pa yung share ng province, ganun. So, pagbaba sa amin, kalit-liit.
So there's truth to what has been said na hindi nakikinabang yung community.
Pero pag tingnan mo yung GVA namin, makikita mo doon, may pumuputok. Paras din ng geothermal. Kasi mining din yan Nandun yan sa mining and quarrying din
Okay.
So, ang ganda ng GVA namin, pero dahil dati nasa 35 megawatts na lang kami, bigla ngayon nasa 300 kami. Buhay na yung Lopez, buhay pa yung Aboitiz.
Okay.
So, pero pagdating po sa binibigay namin, binaba pa ng RILO yung share ng local governments.
So buhay yung oligarchs, gano'n? Hindi, you don't comment. Okay.
So, patapos, pumasok pa nga po talaga itong yung nangyari doon po sa mine rehab, yung final mine rehabilitation ng Rapo-Rapo Mines na nawala yung pera. Tapos, ewan ko kung ibabalik ng mga Koreano Kasi sabi nila, nabili nila mga equipment. So, obviously, mag-motion for recon yun mag-MR yun
Okay.
So, in the meantime, nakawang-tiwang-wang po doon.
Yun ang problema.
Yung experience ng Albay sa mining ay hindi talaga kagandahan. So, bottom line yan talaga. Kung hindi mo kaya po na maging beneficial yan sa tao, huwag mong payagan. Katulad ko, pag nagbotohan na kasi yan, barangay, town, ako. So, laging outvoted ang province. So right from the start, napakaupo ko po noong 2007, nagbigay kagad ng resolution against metallic mining. Kasi nga, alam ko naman na binasa ko yung batas ng Mining Law 1995 na hindi po talaga dihadong-dihado po talaga yung LGUs pagdating po. So, tapos kami pahanapan ng mga tao. So, ayaw naman namin ng parallel o how do you call shadow relationship ng mining company, which is, I think, pervasive in the Philippines.
Okay.
I think that is more disturbing, actually, because that is the dysfunctional part ng mining operations right now. So, not a single permit to explore. Ang laki pa, actually, na Lafayette, front ang MPSA nila Walang permit to explore, walang permit. I've not issued any permit for any metallic mining for 9 years in Albay. So, natapos sila, alam naman nila, hindi na nila magagawa yung iba. Kasi sabi ko, hindi nyo naman ako ma-assure na yung taong bayan magiging, not na masasatisfy mo lahat, pero at least reasonably na yung share ng intergenerational transfer of wealth ng lahat ng ginagawa ng Estado at saka ng current generation, masisigurado ko ba na kung masisigurado nila na yung bibigay nila sa amin, mapapasimento ko at yung masisimento nila will serve at least 3 generations, may laban. Walang ganun
Easier said than done.
Alin po?
Easier said than done.
Unang-una sa batas, hindi. Yung mining law, hindi maganda. Para sa amin. Pangalawa, yung behavior nila. Yung behavioral patterns po talaga ng mga mining companies, akala nila, nung pumasok kasi yung Lafayette, pumasok sila, actually, yung kanilang mga permits, ako, as far as I'm concerned, there were issued on suspicious
So,
circumstances.
yung Lafayette, magandang pakinggan.
They're really seen as a big bad operators in Australia in the first place.
So, Lafayette ang nangyari sa Albay.
Tapos binenta nila sa ang nangyari doon, pumalo yung stock nila, bumenta sila doon. Pangalawa, yung kanilang output, binenta pa nila. Iniutang nila. So, ibig sabihin, katulad halimbawa, nung binenta nila, kung ba forward sales nila, long-term forward sales, so talagang tubong-tubo na sila. Kaya sinalo naman sila ng mga Koreano kasi ang iniwanan nila ay yung okay lang siguro kung yung presyo ng gold tumaas kaysa dun sa forward sales nila. Hindi. So, ang nangyari, yung utang nila, yung value ng utang nila, mas mataas kaya dun sa mga forward sales arrangements nila. So, binitiwan nila. Sinalo naman sila ng Dominguez Group. Tapos, binitiwan naman ng Dominguez Group, napunta po sa LG Group ng Koreano. So, pero yung Koreano po, magaling sana, except yung nangyari na paglabas ng MRF, yung Mine Rehab Fund. Kaya isang batas siguro talaga dapat dyan gawin na talagang hindi pwedeng iskraw na nasa loob po ng balance sheet ng mining company yung Mining Rehab Fund. Kailangan po talaga naka-iskraw siya, pero ang pangalan po talaga ng deposito outside of the company, hindi yung basta-basta na nakalabas.
Okay.
Pero kahit ganun pa din, nailabas pa rin dahil pumirma yung MGB Regional Director
At siya nag-withdraw, no?
Pinayagan niya, pumirma siya, kaya parang, that is what I call a shadow parallel governance patterns. So, in effect, he became DNR without the proper authorization, without the special full powers
vested in him by
full powers from the DNR
department.
secretary with respect to that particular transaction. So, at the end of the day, sama siya governance
Okay.
So, kung di mo masisiguro yung governance aspect, ako talagang no touch talaga ako sa mining. Kasi in the first place, hindi maganda po yung experience namin sa mining sa Albay.
Yeah, thank you. Yusek, anong magaganap under the Duterte administration?
Camelo, in the immediate term, yung immediate future ng mining industry will depend largely on the result of the audit. And 1 week ago, yung ating pong kalihim ay nagkaroon ng pagkakataon na makausap ang dalawang mining executives. Hindi ko na papangalanan yung pangalan ng dalawang mining executives.
Mukhang kilala rin naman namin.
And then, sabi ng ating kalihim, talaga bang may responsible mining? Ang sagot ng dalawang mining executives, meron. Madam Secretary, meron. Just have to visit us and see for yourself. So sabi ng ating kalihim, can there be a poster boys on mining? Meron, sabi ng mining executive. Then, submit to the audit. Submit to the audit. The audit will be fair, transparent to yung criteria. There is enough mechanism for grievance kung sakali may problema. But in the immediate term, ulitin ko po yung future ng industry will depend largely on the audit.
Thank you very much. Pahabol ko na rin doon sa mga kapatid natin sa media. You mentioned Pokemon Go. Sige nga, pakibangkit nyo na para for the record. Let's end this with a lighter note.
Alam mo, una kasi, nasa level 22 na ako.
Ganun.
Kaya alam ko kung anong ginagawa ko sa driver ko pag may dinadaan na kami Pokestop. Bigla ko na, stop. O tabi mo muna. Siya, tabi bigla na. Kung minsan naman ako biktima. O paikot ako doon sa tabi ng Meralco Avenue. Biglang nagpaparada sa akin, makikita ko talaga, alam ko, may inuhuli siyang So, pero ginawa ko lang yun para mai-compare ang epekto para masabi na may 2.5 million cars ka dito sa Manila. Ba't mo pinag-iinitan yung 3,300?
Provincial buses.
50 yung nakatira. Maglaro pa sila na maglaro. Wala naman pakialam. Hindi naman pwede sabihan yung driver. Na uminto ka nga dito sa Lucena kasi uminto ka nga dito sa gitna ng Sariaya kasi meron. Magagalit naman yung iba na hindi nag-ano. Samantala, kung nasa kotse ka, kontrolado mo yung kotse mo. Pero I was trying to drive a point. Kung iisipin nga, kung properly organized, it offers magandang patok na pagkakakitaan kabuhayan Pwede ka mag-poke tours. Basta unang-una may guide, yung tour guide mo. Yung tour guide mo, magaling talaga. Baka nasa level 30 na siya. At pangalawa, yung yung DOT mismo, as publicly said, nalagyan mo ng Pokestops yung lahat ng ating mga destination. So, pwedeng maging talaga na for tourism purposes, wag kang maging banyaga sa sarili mong bayan, dapat siguro sumama ka dito sa mga Poke tours. Sana naman, ibang Pikachu talaga mahuli mo, ibang Pika...
yun nga, baka sa Quezon Avenue mapunta yan.
Ibang Pikachu ang mo. Pero ang sinasabi ko, I was trying to drive on the point that it does have aggravating factors sa traffic. Far more. Alam mo naman yung mga bus namin, pinapapasok lang ng alas 6 ng umaga. Ngayon kung ang gusto nyo na ibababa nyo doon sa Muntinlupa, isipin mo naman yung yan. Maraming kargada. Malaki ang kargada niyan. Ibig sabihin may bigas, may gulay. Tapos pag pinasakay naman ng bus na galing Muntinlupa, papunta halimbawa ng EDSA, doon ka lang sa stribo. Kasi sa dami ng mo. Usually alam ko yan kasi dinaanan ko yan Tapos, alas 4 ng umaga, palilipatin mo, antok na, bugbog sarado pa sa Quirino Highway. Tapos, taon-taon, assuming mo na lang 1,650 times 50, di 82,000 a day, ang bumibiyahin galing Bicol, papunta Maynila. I-multiply mo na 365, di 30 million lives ang inaapekto mo ng pasakit na hindi naman nila deserve. In simple language, yung 1,650 per day, kasi hindi naman pwede there are 3,300 provincial buses. Siyempre, salubungan yan. Divided by 2, 1,650. Masyado yung pinag-iinitan. Tapos, hindi naman yung katulad ng mga buses dito sa Metro Manila na barag-barag. Anong barag-barag? Kung saan-saan. Araw-araw, makakasama mo, kalaban mo pa. Limbawa, araw-araw, dyan lang sa Kamuning. Bigla na lang, green na green lang, humihinto talaga yan.
Magsasakay.
Yung provincial buses, hindi naman kami, from terminal, diretso na yan ulit sa Bicol. So, hindi ko maintindihan, pero kung meron sila, number one, ang policy should be science-based, it should be evidence-based. May time and motion study ka ba? Na mapapatunayan na yung pag-parking, dito sa mga terminal sa loob ay talagang ganong kalaki o gawa mo ng hierarchy kung alin ang pinaka-source. Maniwala ka sa hindi. Ang number one source, 2.5 million private vehicles. Walang iba. So, nasa baba siguro kami.
Okay.
So, ang hinahanap ko, mayroon bang... anyway, basically, kung mayroong time and motion study, pangalawa, Section 1, Article 3, you cannot deprive people of life, property, and happiness without due process. So dapat may consultation.
Wala.
Wala akong nakitang kinusulta. Basta na lang
Nag-meeting yung mga mayor.
Nag-meeting yung mayor, sasabihin na bawal na pumasok. Approve. So, doon sa dalawang bagay na yan. Kaya pupunta ako mamaya sa Supreme Court. Kaso, mukhang ayaw nila, wala pa akong annotated o yung tawag
supplemental.
Hindi, yung certified ng MMC resolution. Hindi ka naman pwede sa Supreme Court.
According to page 1 of Manila Bulletin, gano'n, hindi pwede.
Bawal yun.
Bawal, okay.
So, wala namang ganong klaseng cognizance of the realities in Lido Restaurant, wala namang ganun.
Okay.
Kailangan talaga ipat.
So we'll have to wait.
I think off for the day.
Okay. Di bale. We'll have time for that. Okay, so thank you very much. Nais ko pasalamatan sina Congressman Salceda, si Engineer Luis Sarmiento, Under Secretary Leo Hazareno, at ganoon din si Attorney Deo Contreras at si Ginoong Paul De Castro.